Welcome back to another episode of STEM in Stilettos. This is your host, Zofia Morales, and I am here today with the amazing and wonderful Maggie Mills. But before I go in depth on who Maggie is and why you want to know her, I would like to invite you to get to know your own self a little bit better. And grab your pen, grab your piece of paper. You're going to want this URL. It's leadershippitfallquiz.com. It will give you insight into your particular leadership style, the strengths of that style, and more importantly, the weaknesses or the blind spots that come along with that style of leadership. And giving yourself 60 seconds of attention in this area can help to open your eyes to ways that you can make your life easier and less overwhelmed and make yourself a more effective leader. So leadershippitfallquiz.com and give yourself that gift of insight. And today we are going to take on, are you ready for your second chapter? A ghostwriter shares how your book can inspire others. So Maggie Mills is a ghostwriter and a writing coach, basically your literary enabler, and believes that everyone has a story to share and a truth to be told. During her 3 decades in marketing and publishing, she has collaborated with thousands of authors and entrepreneurs to release those narratives from their subconscious. Maggie guides her clients to weave visions and memories into words and broadcast them to the audience most eager to read them. Her work is distributed worldwide, and her clients include actors, politicians, preachers, self-made millionaires, educators, marketers, psychics, and more. If you have a story that is impatiently, excitingly waiting to manifest in your subconscious, you can find Maggie at maggiemills.com. Wow. Okay. We'll put that in the show notes.
Maggie at maggiemills.com. Just too easy.
Exactly. So no matter who you are, if you're hugely successful or complete unknown, your story will touch someone's life. Your experience will help another human being deal with a challenge, give them hope, and lift them up. So go ahead and share what you know and leave a legacy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Maggie. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
I am so honored to be invited. Thank you for this opportunity to chat.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about Maggie Mills. How on earth did Maggie Mills become a ghostwriter?
Like almost the entirety of my career by accident. Somebody once asked me if they made a movie about your life, what would the name of the movie be? And I almost instantly responded, I didn't see that coming.
That's a good title. I like that.
Didn't see that coming. And that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, because how and where I've wound up is so much more exciting and fulfilling than I ever could have imagined. And I've been writing, oh my gosh, I wrote my first television script when I was about 5 years old.
Oh, look at you.
Spoiler alert. None of the major networks picked it up.
But no.
My mother liked it. And so we made a little television set out of a shoebox. We took paper and taped it together to make a long roll. And I did the illustrations like storyboards, so we could roll it through the little box, the shoebox television that we made.
Oh, so, that is so sweet and supportive. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. My mother was amazingly creative, and she encouraged me. Her imagination and her skills definitely encouraged me. So I'd been writing for years and never really applied it, I guess. And in high school, I somehow, you have to sign up for classes. It's like, oh,
what am I going to do?
Yeah, what am I going to do? And I wound up on the newspaper, and I was taking pictures and writing stories. And then I did it in college, and then I got an art degree, and I was still doing the writing on the side. Like I was writing the copy for ads and things like that.
Yeah.
And it just started to expand. I worked in advertising, marketing, and publishing. And I just started writing larger and larger pieces. And I was doing a lot of editing and book editing. And that just sort of rolled into, a publisher called me one day and said, well, can you just ghostwrite the book?
Please.
Sure. I failed to mention, I haven't exactly done that before. I mean, I sort of wrote a book before, but it was about my own field. My boss asked me if I took, the week and worked from home, if I could write a book on marketing.
And what do you tell the boss? Sure, absolutely. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
I got this. Yeah, we got it. The loose leaf binder, I can fill that. And that led to the ghostwriting. I just started doing more and more of it. And the same publisher asked me if I would get on a call one day with one of the authors and just help her through some spots where she was sticking with her
Yes.
writer's block, some call it. I go, oh, sure, that sounds like fun. And from that moment on, I was hooked with the book coaching because I got so excited to see the light that goes off in someone's eyes when they get it, when they have that idea,
It's
when they
like,
figure
oh,
something.
this is it. This is how it all comes together. Yes.
My gosh. And it's all about having conversations and asking questions. And that was it for me. So I eased out of marketing during the pandemic because so many people are marketing.
Yes.
Not a lot of people want to write other people's books, and I loved it. So I haven't looked back.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. So I know you are big on everyone having a story and that we should be telling our story. So as amazing, talented career women and entrepreneurs, why should we be thinking about a book as our second chapter of life, if you will?
Oh my gosh. Well, for a lot of people, writing a book is on their bucket list. I can't tell you how many people I hear say, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to write a book, or I want to be on the New York Times bestseller list. I've just had this dream. And so to write a book in any genre is fulfilling a dream. And in the process of allowing yourself to write that book, allowing yourself is key there because we tend to put it off. Oh, I have career and family and I need to be serious. And this is.
And I need to carve out a bunch of time, like an entire week at home.
Right. That's just for your first book. But once people allow themselves to become involved with writing, so many more things happen. They really go through a soul search, no matter what type of book they're writing. If they're writing a business book or that fiction book or romance they've always wanted to write, the process of sitting down to do that, oh my goodness, so much comes up. Lost memories, new ideas, the joy of expressing oneself. So there's a lot going on. It's not just about getting the words on that page. There are many other things going on. And then, of course, the absolute joy of seeing your book in print.
Yes.
Nothing compares.
Well, and I would say that it shares a great deal in common with the entrepreneurial journey because I find it is the most stringent self-development program you could put yourself through, because it's very easy as the entrepreneur to be the cork in the butthole of progress. And a lot of that comes from things that are unhealed within ourselves, our desire to have complete total control over everything that goes on, or being unwilling to express what we really desire so that people have a target they can actually hit. There are lots of ways in which we have to clean up some of our own stuff in order to be effective as entrepreneurs. And it sounds like a book has a lot in common with that process.
I think you've very succinctly described the editing process too. I'm so glad you brought up the parallels you saw, because now you're making my wheels turn. I like that point, and I can see how it applies here, because going through the editing process is very similar to being an entrepreneur. You need to gather your information. Is it too much? Is it too little? Am I expressing myself clearly? Do I need to expand on this idea? So that's very insightful of you. I like that. I'll be
Excellent. Well,
that.
feel free to use that.
I will use it.
Just call it the Zofia analogy.
Okay, I will do that.
So I know when topics like this come up, it's easy as someone who's been successful and done a lot of things to create excuses why it ought not to be me who's becoming this mentor between the pages, if you will. Things like, I got ADD. I've got some dyslexia. I don't think I write very well. I'm terrible at grammar. I mean, the list is pretty darn long. And that's just my list. I'm sure there are some other people's lists that could add on to that. But why should I not worry about all of that and just do the thing?
Well, it goes back to why I use the term story, because the things you brought up are centered around the tools that we think we might need to write a book.
Right.
But the story, whether fiction or nonfiction, is the important part. And that's what's coming from the heart and soul of the author. And the other things that you mentioned, we can find ways of working with them. ADD and dyslexia. I work with a number of authors who, thankfully, they are still motivated enough to write their book, to reach out and say, how do we do this? And so there are lots of tools. There's so many different ways of communicating. And it's one of the first things I discuss when working with a new author is let's find the method that works best for you. Because some people really find it difficult to work with the printed page because the way the page appears, if the margins are too wide, for some people, it's very difficult to read all the way across the page. So there's so many things we can do. We'll make the margins narrower and we'll make the space between the lines, the leading wider. So it's easier to keep your space when you're looking at it. And we don't have to look at a printed page. We can work with voice notes and so many different types of technologies. So we first talk about that, like how does this work best for you? Because there are as many books about how to write a book as there are probably books.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I've discovered about my own self is I'm not real good at keeping appointments with myself. I will block out the time, it'll be sitting right there, and then I allow life to Shanghai that. Unless it's an appointment with someone else, then I will defend it to the death. So I think what I need is like a writing partner, or better yet, someone I could talk my book through with. In other words, I'm really good at conversation like we're doing right here. Not so good at just stand up and hold forth.
Well, the blank page, whether it's digital or an actual piece of paper, is so intimidating because I think for so many of us, we're expecting perfection from the first word. And people become almost paralyzed with an inability to move forward because they're perfecting that last sentence, that paragraph, that chapter.
Like it's written in stone.
Exactly, which is why sail through your first draft and then go back and look at it while you're editing.
Yeah, I'm a recovering perfectionist and I have learned to embrace the shitty first draft because it gets me past that blank page moment. And in fact, I have recruited AI to give me a shitty first draft that I can then look at and go, no, this is not at all what I want to do.
Okay, I have actually assigned writers who I could tell were very nervous. They think I'm judging them. Trust me, I make so many mistakes and I write ridiculous things and I go back and look at it and go, that's coming across as
what on earth was I trying to say when I did that?
Yes, I was on a call just the other day with a couple of authors I'm working with. They're co-writing a book that I'm collaborating with them. And we were going over notes I sent them and they were questioning me. Now, Maggie, you left this note here and we were questioning that. And I said, I am too.
I have no idea what that note's about.
And then we talked about it for a minute. I went, oh yeah, that's where we were going with that. So I've actually assigned authors who I feel are getting stuck on that perfectionism. Okay, I want you to write what you think is the absolute worst opening line to a book.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Exactly. I want your version. And then I gave them several objectives. I want the worst one. I want you to write 2 sentences for me that you think is really going to gross me out. I want you to write something like, I intentionally have them write poorly because that, again, it gives us permission. Okay, well, she's not looking for perfection here. And the thing about the first drafts, and I learned this thankfully through the world of advertising, it's not as evil as everyone told me it was, mostly advertising and marketing. Your first thoughts are some of the best you're going to have. So don't pre-edit yourself. And I used to do this when I was writing ad copy. Whoever was telling me about what the project was and what the assignment was, I was instantly making notes. I would get these instant ideas about these great things to do with this project.
Dump them down on the page and hold on to them.
Exactly. And I always had to turn in a couple of options. Most of the time, my first crazy idea was accepted. And there were occasions when the client was just really very boring. What can I say?
Want something more middle of the road, Maggie?
Yeah, I was working with somebody who was buying a full page ad in a trade magazine about how hiring some kind of security personnel like this. And the way they described it to me, it was like, we're trying to hire James Bond. So I worked with the artist. The artist is the one who brought me in on this. And I said, I've got these ideas and I'm seeing these images. And I wrote all this like cool spy copy, like who wouldn't want to be a spy, you know? And he and I thought, this is awesome. They're going to get so many people applying for these positions to be in cybersecurity. It's sneaky. And of course, we had the dull version. Of course, the client wanted the dull version.
The dull version, exactly. I love that. And speaking of the dull version, I know we are concerned about that. We're concerned about who would really want to read my book because I'm going to be kind of dull, but I'm not going to have you answer that yet because we are up on our first break already.
Okay.
And we will answer that question when we come back from the break. But what I'm going to suggest that you do over the break as your homework, grab your pen, grab your piece of paper, and write down all those excuses that you have right now. I'm not good at grammar. I don't think I have a story to tell. Nobody would want to read my book. English is my second language. Whatever is on your list may vary. This is unique to each of us. And I would like you to put all of those reasons why, those excuses why, down on that piece of paper. And then once they're down on the piece of paper, your homework is to name people who use those excuses as their reason why to go do the thing. And hang with us. We'll be right back from the break.
Oh, check the loud, the wolf here. Tech is ours and we show no fear. No fear. No fear. No fear.
Thanks for hanging in with us through the break. This is your host, Zofia Morales, and I am back with the amazing and wonderful Maggie Mills, who has an awesome sense of humor, and I'm really appreciating working with her. And before the break, I recommended that you write down all of your excuses why you can't write this book and create a column of people who did it despite all of those, one or more of those challenges. And part of the reason I ask you to do this is because it's very easy for us to go, well, I've got this reason why I can't. And when you can look at someone else who's done the thing, despite the condition that you're dealing with, it provides hope and it provides insight. And sometimes it provides methods by which you can overcome that particular condition. And so I'm all about resourcefulness. And this is your first little step into resourcefulness. There is somebody who had 2 jobs and 6 kids and managed to write an amazing book that has sold multiple copies and broke publishing records and all kinds of things, despite the fact of those conditions. So it's always worth looking at the stories of those people. And that's part of the reason we want you to write your story, because you have done amazing things. You have overcome conditions that other people are seeing as an excuse. And we want you to be able to open that door for somebody else who looks like you, who feels like you, who's challenged in the way that you are. So, Maggie, back to that question I asked before the break. Who would want to read my book anyway?
Oh my goodness. You ask the best questions and you really get me thinking. First of all, if it's interesting to you, it's going to be interesting to someone else. And you're going to be surprised how many people are going to want to read your story, not only want to read it, but be helped by your story, be encouraged by your story. If for no other reason, there's somebody else out there who likes the same stuff I do. Don't we feel better about ourselves and a little bit lifted when we find those common areas with other people? And if you look at a list of books in print, there are every topic under the sun is covered, and people are buying those books. So someone is going to be interested in your story.
And some of those topics are covered more than once from a different perspective.
Absolutely. We just went right into that. That's exactly where I wanted to go. Thank you. And this is the wonderful thing about having conversations like this and how it applies to writing, because you're right, more than one person has written a book about that. So just because someone else has written it, that's actually why you should write yours. Because think about it, when you become interested in a topic and you want to study it and investigate it, you don't just listen to one podcast or watch one YouTube or
no. And back in the day, before we had like Kindle book and all this kind of stuff, I would go into the bookstore and I would pick up 8 or 10 books on whatever that topic was, and I would drop hundreds of dollars.
Absolutely. And so those of us who are truly curious people, we do the same thing. And each person who writes that book has a different perspective on what they're teaching or what, something you want to try, whether it's kayaking or Zen Buddhism.
Starting your own company.
So many different ways.
As a female founder of color coming from the most destitute circumstances on earth. Right? Somebody's got that story and someone else needs to hear it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. You will, many times authors, they go through the whole process and they're getting really close to the publishing date. They've worked hard and it can take 1.5 years. Some people, they've been working on that labor of love for 10, 20 years. They finally get close to publish date and then they start having the doubts. Like, what will people think? And this is when we have a little sit down and I tell them, okay, suppose your book does not sell 1 million copies. Suppose it sells 1 copy to one person who was helped, healed, saved, or inspired.
Motivated, yes.
I said, if you knew all of this effort was going to one human being, would you still do it? And everyone has answered, yes, I would want to help, even if it's just one person. And that's how we work through that. And of course, our books are helping many more than just
one. Exactly.
Exactly. But we think of it in those terms. It's not just our experience. When we share things, we definitely extend a hand to others and give them hope. Even if you're writing a business book or a book on marketing, other people are very encouraged by that. It encourages them to start their own businesses and do things that lift their families up from generations of poverty.
Yeah, exactly. So say I'm sold at this point. Yes. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to tell my story. I know there's somebody out here that needs to hear about my journey. Where do I start? I mean, it seems kind of daunting. There's the blank page. There's the how do I couch it in a way that people are going to want to hear from, and a million decisions that I don't even know need to be made yet as a newbie author. And can't I just like delegate this out? Can't I just like use AI to write my book and be done with it?
Well, you could, but then it would be AI's book and not your book. And now I am not completely against AI. We know this. It serves a lot of purpose. And we can get deeper into the AI discussion later. But to go back to where do I even start? Well, first of all, look at what you might already have. We'll start with that.
Yes.
Do you have emails and newsletters or blog posts? A lot of us are already writing, but we don't think in terms of that could be a book.
Authorship. Yes.
Exactly. How many of us are writing bits of curriculum or coaching programs or a manual for onboarding people at their place of employment? And to some extent, many people are already creating content. And even if you don't have that, you still have a place to start because you have your own thoughts. So take away that intimidating prospect of, okay, I'm writing my book now and I have to do it this way and I can't end my sentences with prepositions. I suggest starting out with a daily journal, which people might be doing anyway, and just let your thoughts go. Don't worry about capitalization. Just these are the notes.
Periods, punctuation, complete sentences.
Exactly.
Throw it all out.
Yeah, put it all out there. Like sometimes people have like many ideas for a book. I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. Just let those thoughts go. And it's important to choose a method that works best for you. For me, I type 98 words a minute, and I am on my laptop every morning doing my journaling.
Keys clacking away.
Oh, I'm such a loud typist because I learned to type on a manual typewriter. So I still
and you have to hit the keys hard. Yes.
Yes. I also keep a journal in the door pocket of my van. If I get a good idea, I started doing this when I was writing ad copy, because if you don't write it down immediately, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Exactly. Now I will say this, pull over to the side of the road.
Yes. No, don't write and drive. Don't write and drive.
Not write and drive. I have pulled over to the side of the road on many occasions. So choose the way you like to keep notes. For some people, it's voice notes. Some people you can do a Zoom of yourself. I worked with an author who Zoomed with the people she knew and asked them questions, and then got transcripts from the Zoom calls to use to start writing her book. So start where you are with your notes and ideas. And then from there, when you feel comfortable that you've sort of gotten the idea of what you'd like to write, create a very, very simple outline. And I have noticed that people who come up through the education field, whether they're professors or teachers or whatever, I have to stop them. I go,
yeah, this is not section
B,
subsection 1,
no.
little a dot I dot.
No,
no.
I start them with 10 things. These are 10 chapters, and I'm going to tell you what chapter 1 and 10 are right now.
What I'm going to tell you and what I just told you.
Pretty much. Chapter 1, you're going to think of it like coming attraction for a movie. You're going to tell them who you are, why you're writing the book, and like why they should listen to you, and what they can expect to learn or experience in the book. Very briefly. So chapter 1 is your introduction. Don't write anything other than the word introduction next to chapter 1. Chapter 10 is your wrap up. You're going to come back. You're going to recap what you wrote. You're going to emphasize what you want people to learn. And for nonfiction books, a lot of times people are using this to promote their business or speaking career. So
some sort of call to action. Talk to me.
Call to action. Or if you're writing a self-help book, many people at the end of the book will include, like, here are the resources that really helped me, and I'm going to share them with you. They include books and podcasts and organizations. So chapter 1 is your intro, chapter 10 is your wrap up. And then for chapters 2 through 9, you are not allowed to write more than 2 sentences.
Okay. You don't get 6 subpoints.
Exactly. You are limited to 2 sentences. And think of those 8 in the middle as the key things you need to share, you need to teach, or you need people to walk away with. And then we're going to flesh it out later. And we do that little by little. So that's the very minimal way to get started, the very, very simple outline.
And I think keeping the outline short and simple keeps you from ending up with a 950-page saga. Because they don't need to know everything that you've ever known, done, or thought over the course of your life to be helped. In fact, the more of that you put in there, the less likely you are to help them in some regards. Focus on the main thing and keep the main thing.
Yes,
I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that.
There's always a balance between give me more detail, tell me more about that, and okay, I think we've had quite enough of that. Thank you very much. You made your point.
Moving right along, TMI. We've arrived at TMI.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, we've got a couple of minutes before break here. What are some options for people who are trying to wrangle their own selves through this process? Okay, and they're having trouble with it. They can't keep appointments with themselves. That would be me. Yeah, they don't come back and work on it as diligently as they want to work on it. Is this where you need a ghostwriter? Do you need a book coach? What do you need when you're in that space where it's like, I've got the thing, it wants to come out, I'm convinced I need to do this, but I'm having trouble with the block and tackle of making that actually happen?
There are several pathways to do this. And again, it depends on personality type. Some of us are more budget. Absolutely. Some of us are more gregarious than others. So you can join a writing group. Some of them are free. You can work with someone else who's writing a book. And here's a little tricky one to hold yourself accountable for doing the writing. Because I have this background in marketing, I start talking to people very early on in the writing process. It's never too early to start marketing your book. And one of the things you want to do marketing your book is to tell people you're writing your book. Do not wait till you're finished.
Oh, there's some serious rubber on the road accountability. I'm writing a book. Everyone's going to ask you how it's coming.
Yes. So you're accomplishing a few things there. You are creating future buyers for your book. You are putting yourself out there to be held accountable. And also, it gives you more ideas for your book because you can ask your audience, your friends, you can ask them questions. Hey, everybody, I'm sitting here today and I'm working on chapter 4. And I'm wondering, would you all be more curious to hear about this aspect? Do you want to hear about fly tying and fly fishing? Do you want to hear about the best fishing spots? Start asking questions of your audience. They're going to come back with terrific ideas that you go, oh, I didn't think people would be interested in that, or I totally took that for granted. Frequently, we take things for granted, but everybody knows that.
Everyone's going to be fascinated to tie their own lures.
Exactly. So there's another, so you're doing 3 things. You're being held accountable and you're going to run into somebody at the bait shop and they're going to say, how's that book coming? Okay. I haven't worked on it since I posted it, or, oh my gosh, I'm almost finished. So glad you asked.
Exactly.
Come to my launch
either way,
party.
it's a nudge farther down the road.
It is.
We are up on our second break already. And what I'm going to suggest for you, our fair listener who has invested this time in themselves today, invest in yourself every day. Take that pen, take that piece of paper, and throw out there some ideas. Whatever sparked for you as we're going through this conversation, if you didn't have a chance to capture it at the time, I want you to take the time to capture it now. Whether it's, oh, well, this would be a topic or 3 or 4 that I could take on, or, you know, the style of book. Are you doing a memoir? Are you doing a how-to? Do you intend to be inspirational or instructional? Think about these different aspects of what you might want to put out there in the world, or think about the places where you've gotten caught in the past if you've tried it, and what are brainstorm some ways that you can work past those catch points as you're moving forward on this attempt, and hang with us. We'll be right back from the break.
Oh, shout aloud, the wolf here. Tech is ours and we show no fear. No fear. No fear. No fear.
Thanks for hanging in with us through the break. This is Zofia Morales, and I am still here with the amazing and wonderful Maggie Mills. And I hope you had a good chance to capture all of your thoughts and ideas around this topic over the break. Right now, Maggie, what I'd like to dig in with you, okay, we mentioned some ways to kind of structure and give yourself accountability as you're working through this solo. What happens if you decide that, you know what, I need professional help? Do I need a book, the ghostwriter? Do I need a book coach? How do I decide which of these options is really the right thing for me?
Okay, we'll talk about ghostwriting first. Many times people choose to work with a ghostwriter because they are very good at delegation.
Yes.
Yes, they love the idea of their story and the ideas, what they want to teach. And they are very aware of their time management. They are certainly capable of writing their own book, but they've decided to talk it through, which is how we pretty much do the ghostwriting process. Talk it through with someone like me who will do the writing for them. So in many cases, it's a time decision. I can get this done more quickly by working with a ghostwriter. To some extent, time decision is involved with choosing to work with a book coach. Many people want to write their book themselves, which I absolutely encourage. And they know that maybe they need a little help with accountability. That's a big part of it.
Sure.
Because they know that they need to have their content for that chapter submitted to Maggie 48 hours before we meet, or they're going to get a little message from me. I have a little GIF that I created of me pointing my finger.
Oh, no, don't wag your finger, Maggie. Oh,
Maggie's wagging her finger. They don't want the little, like, have you done the thing? I have emailed people that.
yes.
So we talked at the beginning of this. When it comes to the client, you're on it. You're doing it. You're doing it for everybody else. So also the wonderful thing about working with a book coach is the conversational aspect of it. To come back to that, it helps you remember things. You have somebody with you to answer questions while they're fresh in your mind. You get that sole focus of attention for your specific book. There are many groups you can join. And if that works with your personality type, I recommend them. People work their way through books doing the same thing. And you can interact with other authors. Even if your question isn't answered, someone else might ask something that's very helpful to you. And for people who are a little more introverted, sometimes it's easier to let somebody else ask
the question and just, get the answer by osmosis.
Yes. So working with a ghostwriter or a book coach, we are working on a schedule which is tailored to your conditions, your availability, your willingness, but it keeps you on track. That's the number one thing, keeps you on track.
So if, say, we decided to work together and you were going to ghostwrite for me, how does that work with like the authorship that goes on the front cover? Is it my book? Is it my book co-written by Maggie Mills? How does this work?
It's all you. You have all the legal rights, the copyright, your name is on the book. I stay completely in the background, and I'm very happy with that.
You don't want your name on the book, Maggie?
No, I get so much joy from watching my authors succeed, that's where my feeling of accomplishment comes from, because I'm helping, I'm the cheerleader, I'm the person in the background, but the idea is the author's. And that's why even when I'm ghostwriting a book, I still call my client the author. It's their ideas, their lives. So no, it's all you.
Right. I love that. So let's think about this a little bit. How long does it take to write a book as opposed to get a book published? What kind of timelines are we looking at? Obviously, it depends on how dedicated you are and how many perfectionistic tendencies you can shed along the way, right? But give us a couple of ranges so we have some
Okay.
expectations.
Let's go through a couple of scenarios here. There are many programs that will sell you on writing your book in a week or writing your book on a retreat. You can write your book in one night. All of those things are physically possible. You could probably do that if you didn't sleep, if you had all the fully formed ideas and had done all of the research and spoken to everybody and gotten all the permissions for all the illustrations you want to include in the book and gotten all the quotes from people, you can do that. But those things we just mentioned, they add
Those
to
are
the
some, yeah, really time-consuming details.
Yes. So I say that to plan out your time, count on about a year, year and a half, depending on the schedule for the rest of your life. Not like until you die, rest of your life.
Yeah, but
Things that are going on in your life during that time.
exactly. You
Right.
children and husbands and jobs and vacations and accidents
Travel,
and all
yes,
the things. Yes.
all the things. To plan on about a year, year and a half is a good way to set up a schedule. And that is before it goes to the publisher. Each publisher is a little bit different, but the first thing they're going to do is put your book through editing and proofreading again. Absolutely. You cannot have it proofread too many times. Don't drive yourself crazy in rewriting 23 times, but send it off to someone else, because this is a product of being human. We don't catch our own errors.
Yeah, no, it looks normal to me
Yes.
until I've been away from it a very long time, and then maybe I would catch it when I come back to it.
Yes. Yeah. Coming back later is an excellent thing to do for editing. So publishers, you want to add another few months depending on the publisher. So if you're scheduling out your time to set your own goals, start with about a year, depending on the word count of your book. And of course, that's different for each genre. You can
Let's
divide
talk
that up.
about some milestones that go in that year, because this isn't like, okay, I finished my first draft on day 365, right? There's
It's-
other stuff that goes in here. So what are some of the major milestones we should be looking and shooting for?
You want to step away from your book for a little while, whether that's a couple of weeks or a month, not too long, then come back and read it again, because you will catch things. So that adds to the time. You want to count for writing time. You want to count for editing time, your own.
Mhm.
You want to count for sending it off to someone else. That goes in your schedule. How long the editor will take to look at a book, which could be anywhere from a few weeks to a few months, depending on the length of your book. And then you need to account for the time, as we just spoke of, that it's going to be at the publisher. While your book is at the publisher, you will be working with them on the cover design. Some publishers will work with you on how to market your book, and you will need things like a professional photo to be taken to put on the back of your book cover. You will need to write or have written for you, collaborate with someone, an author bio. You might need letters if you're sending your book out to people. These are all things you need to add into your timeline. You can add a few weeks if you want beta readers. Always a good idea to have someone else read your book, to have it peer reviewed. Each one of the things that's necessary for your type of book, you're looking to add a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Can you do some of these things simultaneously? Absolutely. You can be having that picture taken. You want to wait.
Working, on a bio, that kind of stuff.
Yes, those kind of things you can do while you're in the process. You can combine some of them. In many cases, the title to the book does not come about until the last thing, because when you're working with your publisher, because they're in the market every day, they can tell you what the trends are, what things are selling right now, what topics, how to spin your topic and come up with a really sellable title. And so therefore, your cover art really can't be completed until that title is finalized.
Yeah.
And those are within the last month or two of the book. Again, it varies per the publisher.
Exactly. So what I'm hearing is I should have kind of a glop together first draft in 3 to 4 months, sit it down, walk away from it for a while, come back, work on it again, and then start working with editors and that kind of thing, and starting all of this other process, which is going to take probably another half a year or more.
Exactly. And for people who have been working on books for a little while, for instance, a lot of people started books before the pandemic and went back to them after the pandemic. Because that was such a world-changing event, it changed some of the content in their book and it changed their viewpoint on things. So if you've had your content sitting around for a while, or you're going to repurpose some content, you need to look at it and see if it still speaks for you and if the things you mentioned are still appropriate for the time that it gets published. People writing books about anything to do with healthcare, you want the most up-to-date research available on that if it's been a while.
Yeah, and you may be editing that stuff like as late as your publisher will allow you to edit it, right?
Absolutely. If there are breakthroughs in your field, you want to talk about the absolute latest thing. So that's part of the editing process. Is everything still timely?
Exactly. What is your opinion on self-publishing, on going, you know what, I'm not going to deal with the formalized publisher. I want to get it out here faster, probably like Kindle Direct is me.
I'm all for it. If you are a DIY kind of person, you will enjoy it because you will be doing your own typesetting. You can create your cover in Canva. There are definitely ways to do this. There are Facebook groups that you can join and everybody's talking about how to do it and when to post it and the sale price. If you love those kind of details, absolutely go to self-publishing because it's very budget friendly. You can do almost all of it yourself, including loading it up onto Amazon.
Or you can hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork or something who knows how to do it.
You can hire someone for any aspect of the publishing process. And also publishers fall into different price ranges and offer different things, different services. Again, like maybe they offer marketing. People who load books every day onto Amazon are going to understand the best categories to place your book. So when you do have the budget for it, you will be getting your money's worth in many cases because they're bringing knowledge to it. But if you love the idea of experimenting and just getting it up there, and I want to do all the tweaking myself and watch the sales and do all my promotion, absolutely. I love the fact that we can do this ourselves.
Excellent, excellent. So we're down to the last couple minutes here of the show, and we will put all of your contact information in the show notes, of course. What are your final words that you want to put out there to our listeners? Do you have an invitation for people to contact you, or just go get them, kid?
I encourage anyone who's had that dream of writing a book to give it a try. You can begin with absolutely no cost whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I put up a YouTube channel to give away free advice because the most brilliant ideas don't always come with the biggest budgets. And again, publishing has changed so much. You can get your book published. print on demand. You can print one copy if you want. It's available in a digital format. So I do encourage people, your story is important. And the process of writing a book, you will learn so much about yourself. You will connect with other people. It's very fulfilling.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming today and answering all these wonderful questions for us and encouraging us to leave our legacy between the pages of a book. I love that.
Oh, that's an excellent way to describe it. It is your legacy. Oh, thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. You can have that too.
I'll take that.
And thank you for investing your time with us here today and investing in yourself. We try to make all of these episodes as useful as humanly possible. And I love to hear from my listeners. So please drop me a line. I want to hear from you. Send me a quick email to Zofia, Zofia at steminstilettos.com. Let me know what you loved, what you hated, topics you want to hear us take on, people you'd like to hear me talk to, and what you want to hear them talk about. We will pick their brains or just say hi.
I like that. I offer what I call my 3 free 30s. And every month I give away 3 free 30-minute sessions, Zoom sessions, to discuss anything you want. Do you have writer's block? I want to talk through something. Do you want to find out about publishing? Do you want to find out if you're on a good source? Will my book sell?
There you go. So we'll put the link for the 3 free 30s. It's obviously a writer thing and not a speaker thing. That we'll put that in the show notes for you. And so make sure you look down there. Go out, be bold, be beautiful, and be authentically you.